Hi guys, welcome to the tail end of our semester here. I wanted to talk about this week, which is very busy, and point out some important dates to you, a few of which have changed. So I was looking at our schedule and realized that I had scheduled 4 things for this week instead of 3, so I just pushed one back and push the final due date of the final paper back. So we have the normal distribution of things due. So tomorrow your research scavenger hunt is due. I'm going to show you an example of that and explain the difference between that and your annotated bibliography, which I also have a model of. Those two are due Monday and Wednesday, and then you have your outline or letter due on Friday. And then you're going to have your rough draft due on Monday, May 7th, rather than this Friday. If you get it done early and you want to turn it in early, that's, of course, up to you, and it's optional. And then, as you'll see, that changes the schedule for the last couple of days. So you'll turn in that rough draft on the 7th and do your peer review on the 9th. Do this final reflection on the 11th, and then you have until the 14th to get your final draft in. And then that completes the course. So let's look at the research scavenger hunt and annotated bibliography. And to be honest, these, particularly the research scavenger hunt, was a little bit confusing to my other class. Especially trying to figure out why you were doing that, followed by a pretty similar assignment. So let me try to explain. The research scavenger hunt has instructions for you to follow that ask you to look for a bunch of different sources in a bunch of different places. And that's why it's called a scavenger hunt, because it's sending you kind of all over the internet to find your sources. What you end up with is a list of sources and then a bunch of information listed out in kind of a loosely organized way. So I'll show you what we're looking for here. And I probably should have opened this up sooner, I'm sorry. All right, so the first thing that you're going to look for is an Academic Search Premier article. You're going to basically answer a bunch of questions about the source, and that's what the author is doing here. I'm not going to go over all of that because that's in the instructions for the assignment. And then you've got the citation for that article, which shows up when you do the search in Academic Search Premier. Then you have an article from ProQuest, and so on and so forth. So opposing viewpoints and context, you get the idea. All right. The annotated bibliography is not specific about what database you use. It is just asking you to select among all of the sources available the best ones for your paper, or the ones that you're most likely to use. So that looks a little bit different in that the citation comes before the information, and the information is in a tightly organized paragraph. So I'm going to pull up the annotated bibliography now, going down to 7B. And again, you may not have all of the same sources in your research scavenger hunt as you have in your annotated bibliography, and in fact you shouldn't, because one of the things that you're being asked to find in the research scavenger hunt is a bad source. So definitely that shouldn't end up in your final annotated bibliography. There is an explanation of what an annotated bibliography is, but you guys, essentially it's a works cited list with a description and an evaluation of each source. So this should be familiar. In some way, I presume that in your education career you will have done something similar. So the thing here is to take it to like a college level depth and polish. So what this student has done is given me the works cited entry first, followed by, again in paragraph format, the summary and evaluation of the source. And notice that she started with an article by Ruth Campbell, and then she moved on to one by Chris Ferguson, so they're in alphabetical order. All right, that's the idea there. Certainly, if you need more clarification, send me an email, and I'm happy to help with that. And then for Friday, what you guys have going on is an outline or a letter. So you can either write an outline. Here's how I'm going to write my paper, Mrs. Martinson. I actually had that backwards. You can either write an outline saying, here are the topics and the support that I'm going to provide, and sort of a bulleted list. So you're just kind of showing me the plan for how you're going to organize your essay. Or you can write a letter to me or up here explaining what's behind your thought process and what kind of material you're planning to include in your essay. All right, and that is 6C. And that can look however you want it to. All right, so those three things will get you set up to write a really sharp rough draft for next Monday. All right, so I saw that some of you took me up on 6B. You're evaluating sources bonus activity, which is terrific. If you guys have any questions about your essays, what you think is going to work or not work, let me know, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you and seeing your work soon.